everyone. Welcome back to the Pause by Jaysrii. I'm your host Beejal Trivedi, founder of Jaysrii. This podcast is a space for conversations around wellness, self-care, personal growth, healing, and the many ways we can reconnect with ourselves. Today's conversation is one I have been looking forward to for quite some time. Joining me today is Lilian, someone whose work is centered around wellness, healing, community, and helping people create more intentional. Today, we are exploring a topic that I think many of us can relate to, coming back to yourself. Lilian, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Beejal.
Let's start with Lilian. When you hear the phrase coming back to yourself, what does that mean to you personally?
It means for me personally, like honoring my talents and my hard work that I've cultivated pretty much throughout my career, being able to build those solid foundations. I think those are very important today, especially the way we keep moving around in a fast pace. Coming back to yourself is something personal that you go through in a certain period of your life.
Was there a particular period or season in your life that led you to explore this more deeply?
Yeah, I was in the corporate world, dealing with hospitality management and selling global hotels. And although it was a fantastic career, I always had a little bit of wellness in my DNA, and I didn't have the time to further explore. And once I was able to, dig a little deeper there, I was able to see that that's something also that I was passionate about. So that's why I
And
was able to transition from corporate into wellness.
has the definition changed over the years of coming back to yourself?
No, come like I said, it's a journey. Everyone goes through it. Whether you're in business, whether you're in leisure, whether you're a mom, it's important for us to come back to ourselves. And when I deal with diverse clients, it's really seeking and inquiring what they're going through at that time, because we get lost a little bit in the hustle. We get lost in our work, in what we're passionate about. And it's important to be able to come back to yourself. It's needed in order for you to continue to grow and build new goals and new things you want to achieve and accomplish.
Do you think like most people today realize when they have become like disconnected, from themselves?
Yeah, some people realize it. Other people are kind of just going day by day. I feel that in a period where we're in a tech age, everyone is living a part of an experience. So what happens is we're so instantly connected, to social media, to our phones, and at the same time, we have all these resources available for us. But we also feel disconnected personally in our own inner being.
I also think so many people are feeling disconnected right now, even if they can't quite put words to it. And social media today is playing a major role, rightly said. We are so engrossed or distracted with it, right? With all the other things going on that we don't
Yeah.
realize we're actually, getting disconnected or from ourselves. So why do you think so many people feel overwhelmed today?
What happens is when I work with someone, it's either trying to create a lifestyle shift in their personal life, in their career, in their home front. But what it ultimately comes down is that people need to be, to better connect, to reconnect with themselves. They're connecting with work, or they're connecting with different things that they have to do with their families, with their responsibilities. But what happens is, in the midst of everything, we're feeling stuck, or when we feel overwhelmed, that's a cue that's telling us that something is slowly disconnecting. But we don't pay attention. We just continue going day by day in the motions. And what happens is it doesn't really start to fulfill us anymore. So it's very hard to be able to work and live harmoniously. That's where the balance comes in.
Are there any particular signs that you feel that, we start feeling that we are like out of alignment with ourselves?
Yeah, of course. what often happens is that you don't feel satisfied with things. You made things that made you happy no longer give you the same gratification. Oftentimes you walk around frustrated or you're stressed. You lose your patience easily. You get upset easily or annoyed. And sometimes we become judgmental. Those are pretty
Oh
good
my God.
signs.
Literally, like I'm sure anybody and everybody can kind of connect to these points or bullet points that you have mentioned, in some or the other way at some or the other stage, in their life. Because yes, I can clearly relate to so many things, and I have felt so demotivated. I don't feel there are days I don't feel inspired, like it's just because of a total burnout or something, and
And
that's
that's
where I
normal. And
so
that's normal to feel that way. It's very normal. It's just what are you doing to help yourself further?
yes, people will start taking different routes. Some might, like yoga has personally helped me. I have started doing meditation as well, so that is helping me as well. But what are some things people commonly ignore, until their, say, body or mind forces them to pay attention?
What are some cues for the body and mind to pay some attention is, for instance, a breath. Oftentimes we suppress our breath. When we're stressed, we hold things in. When we want to speak, we feel that we cannot, when we're disconnected, we can't express ourselves and our emotions. We feel we just have to hold it in and not really. And that's actually not good for us, because the more we hold in and we don't feel what we're feeling at that moment, whether it's anxiety, stress, happiness, sadness, grief, we process things differently. So it creates those stagnant periods in our lives. So breath work is a great way to release that. Taking a couple of minutes in the morning, a couple of evenings when you end your day, that's good. Meditation, as you mentioned, definitely some form of exercise, mobility, movement. The goal is to shift the nervous system. When it's in an anxiety mode, just taking a moment to pause and to breathe, or taking a walk in fresh air, being able to breathe some clean air. Being in an office or in your home, or the air gets a little stagnant as well, opening the windows, bringing in some fresh air if you can't go out. So those are key things that help us reset. And when we're stressed and we're going, we don't take the time to pause and say, okay, I'm going to reset right now, or I need a little break, or I need to meditate for 5 minutes. What's important is that you take a moment to reset, recalibrate your system.
And somehow we always find an excuse to not do that when it comes to resetting ourselves.
Yes,
We
excuses. There
will
will always be
always,
excuses. There will always be excuses. It's, setting a routine and having a discipline for yourself to be able to honor that for yourself, that time, 5, 10 minutes before you start your day, will make you more productive. And then you'll get used to the pattern. And the goal is to continue to build and creating those positive habits.
yep, and especially with in today's rushed world, our most busiest routines, and we keep adding, tasks one after the other. Stress is playing a major role. And stress is
And
into
we work in
anything and
fast
everything.
cities and fast environments, so and with a lot of diverse, people and personalities. So all of that is energy. We need to be able to balance all of those energies that we come in contact with every day.
How do you think stress and modern life contribute to this disconnect with ourselves?
Stress happens when it could be related to time management, it could be related to not setting the proper boundaries that we need. It could be not having our goals or our to-do list of what we want to accomplish. For instance, when I start my day, I'll look at what is the heaviest thing that I need to accomplish, and I'll tackle the hardest ones first in the morning after I meditate or breathe or so, or even yoga. And then I'll tackle those challenging things on my tasks first, and then proceed with everything else that needs to. I have more energy, more clarity, more focus in the morning. So I'll take the harder challenges or the things that I need to really focus and bring more attention to handle first most as I start my day. Because if there's no organization or a structure, that's when you start creating and building a foundation. If you don't have that, then that's how you get stressed.
Yeah, and as an entrepreneur, right, I can definitely relate to that. There have been periods where every day felt like a checklist, like building a website, sourcing ingredients,
Right.
managing social media, planning events, trying to grow a business. And from the outside, it can look exciting, right? But internally, you can slowly, literally, like lose touch with why you started this in the first place. I think one thing I have learned is that success does not mean much if you are constantly disconnected from yourself, like while pursuing it.
Right. Right. Success is important based on the time and the hours that you put into it, right? It's measurable based on what you feel you want to accomplish for that day, for that week, for that month. Oftentimes, what I tell my clients is, you got to give yourself, be patient. It'll come, be patient. Also, give yourself grace. We give ourselves, credit for the big wins, but also for the small wins are important in order to keep us motivated, in order to keep us going each and every day. Things will get done in time, in the right timing, but you want to be able to execute with, positive energy, with a good attitude. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. When you start off, when I started my business, I really didn't understand what a solopreneur and an entrepreneur were. You have to start as a solopreneur because you're doing this solo. No one is helping you. You're trying to figure it out yourself. And then you find the areas that are your strength, and you put in your passion and your creativity to take it forward. And that's where you shift into entrepreneur and start really, pushing in the boundaries in the areas you want to grow and escalate or monetize.
Wow, that is so true. I have I wonder it, right? Like, of course, anybody who starts, beginning is always tough, as you rightly said. Solopreneur. Of course, I have like read about it, but I have not felt it as such as much. Like the moment you said it, and it like literally struck. And yes, I am at that place, trying to manage everything at
We
once,
all start
and
at that place. We all start at that place. But it's good because that's where your foundation starts.
yes,
You have to do
yes.
it. It's your vision, your talents, your creativity. So you have to put that. So then one day you can further direct your team, your people, and everything because you've done the hard work already. You've set the
Yes.
platform for yourself and for the people you're going to connect with and work with. And that's kind of how it starts.
Yeah, building base is so important. So, what are some simple ways, that according to you, people can start reconnecting with themselves?
Right. So once you've realized that there's something that you need to change in your life or somewhere you need to grow, you need to be able to write down your thoughts. I think it's important because I even come back to certain things that I've written down and I say, oh, I wrote this. If I wrote it down, there means that internally there's some form of significance there for me to action. So it's important to be able to gather what we want to do, what we want to accomplish, and what we want to take action forward. Secondly, I would say being patient with yourself. Not everything is a rush, not everything is a timeline. Yes, we do need to meet deadlines and timelines, but having time management for yourself, taking a break also, maybe taking a day off, and then also, working one day on the weekend if needed. I also tell my clients make a personal day for yourself. Take a Wednesday or so, and just how you take that lunch meeting for an hour or a Zoom call or so, honor yourself with giving yourself that one day for yourself to be able to really gather your thoughts and bring more clarity. And don't cancel on yourself. Sometimes something comes up and you want to cancel. We're easily to help others and we put ourselves second. Thirdly, I would say being more grounded, staying grounded. It's very important when you're grounded, you're able to anchor into your inner strength and really stay focused with what you want to do. When you're not anchored or in aligned, when something happens or an emergency happens, you start to get frazzled. That's when the stress and the anxiety kicks in. When you're anchored, you have more control of your body and you're working from your core, so you're standing more firm. I like to explain it like a tree with the roots on the ground. You're grounded and anchored like a tree, but you're standing like a tree with the arms there open to do everything else that you have to do that may be complex, or like you said, tackle this, tackle a podcast, tackle a call, tackle a meeting, tackle a product launch. Those are all different things. So if you're anchored, you're able to manage your stress levels better.
Are there like any kind of practices? Of course, you've mentioned 3 points, but like something that have been especially meaningful in your own life?
For me, it has been very therapeutic to be able to do sound healing through sound frequency. I enjoy it. I think sound, music, soft music or so is relaxing. It helps, when you're concentrating, even when you're eating, some soft music, classical music or so, it's good. It helps with your digestion. So it also helps with your concentration. There is a time to play more, playful music or so, but it helps. It changes your levels. If you're upset sometimes, it's good to be able to play some music or so. So for me, sound frequency has been very therapeutic, as part of my healing, but also as part as helping me shift, the energy levels in the room. I like to play, sometimes have chimes in the house, crystal bowls, sound bowls, tuning forks, anything that really helps you shift that. And once you really understand the power of frequency, it is very helpful. And, sound to me is like medicine, just like air is medicine, water is medicine, for our body needs it. It's vibrational. So it gives you that positive attitude to have to be a bit more optimistic.
And I have experienced this myself, thanks to you. It was so beautiful what we did at women's wellness getaway, right? In Poconos. However, I think I have attended one of the sound therapy sessions before, but because ours was like an extended session, right? Like it was a 2 night, 3 day kind of a thing, and
Yeah.
you started on day one evening, which
Yeah.
was really so surprising to me. I was expecting it, okay, like it might be starting on day two, but when it started out of nowhere, when you brought it and when you were do it was working its magic, like literally it was helping not only me but
Right.
everybody calm down,
So
be.
when we come out of our comfort zone and we attend a retreat or a wellness getaway or so, you want to be able to bring down the body from the everyday, right? So sound helps us, calm. It brings calmness into our nervous system. It brings calmness. But what's most importantly about sound, once your ears hear the sound, your body receives it, and the more you do it, your body is able to embrace it because it's able to absorb the sound and the frequency in different levels. So once you're really in a relaxed state, it is powerful. It is very powerful because you can feel your whole body vibrate from head to toe. If you're laying down, you're able to really feel it. If you're sitting down or you have a headache, it's it can help you release headaches, pain, stress, helps you to sleep better. And I think by the towards the end, everybody was sleeping better, so
Yes.
deeper. So that's what's important. It takes out the mental noise from our everyday. So it's very important to have that. And why I love it as much is because it touches the soul. The vibrations,
Yes.
once you get used to, it heals your soul. And there's no medicine out there that I know that you could take a pill to really touch your soul or soothe your soul.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important for us to also do that inner work to be able to bring calmness to our soul.
Imagine, right? Like sound, music, they are such like mood lifters or mood changers. Not like I would start with, not necessarily a sound bath or something. Of course, that now that I've experienced it, I have a totally different perspective of that. Like now, it's in the form of healing or calming yourself down or reconnecting to yourself. But in general, right, music is something that will literally change your mood. Even if you are sad or depressed, and if you are playing a feel good music, it will just lift your mood. It will just make you start feeling good. It will just lift your spirits up. And then come cut to, I experienced the sound bath, right, to a totally so of course music, we all know, everybody experiences that. Everybody like, like some or the other form of music. And then when we experienced the sound bath at the wellness retreat, and you started at day one, it was like, okay, we are getting familiar to this. Day two, now, okay, it's sinking in, we are feeling it. And you won't believe, day three, when I was home and I told my husband I'm taking a power nap in the afternoon, right after coming back home at around 4 or 5ish in the afternoon. Oh my God, I was not able to get up after two
That's how you
hours.
know it's working for you because your
It
body
was,
has already received it. So you have
yes,
that calmness inside that it'll make you want to nap. A couple of girls were laying on the hammocks or sleeping on the side or wanted to take a nap as well. It's powerful. And it's not just about playing the instruments. There is a level in letters, in each bowl, a C level, a D level, an E level. So all of that, when it's tuned fine, is what creates that frequency that will give you kind of like if someone is cradling you there, your
yeah.
mind starts to receive that sound like that, gentle, soft, and then your body is able to receive it. We need that. That is a form of our body receiving a form of nurturing.
Yeah, and also while you were playing the sounds, right? Because it was like your frequencies were low and high and low and high, right?
Mhm.
A one goes through a lot of emotions
Yes,
at that time,
yes,
and I literally I was experiencing that when it
yes.
was playing. So when it is calm and slow and low, and so you are in a certain state emotionally, and then when it starts getting a little louder or a high frequency thing, then you go to another emotional state. So
So
I
that
experienced that as well.
the vibration helps you sometimes. Your body just once your body is able to get calm, it allows you to receive it, and then you start to sometimes connect with yourself inside. And I always tell people, if you want to cry, cry. If you want to laugh, laugh. If you want to lay down, because that's the time that we are really tuning in with ourselves, and we have to really listen to the messages that our body is trying to say. It's new, so when it's new, you receive it. With children, I love working with sound with children because the children absorb it faster than the adults, like sponges. So they could be, children are very active and then they'll calm
Mhm.
down quietly and instantly fall asleep, which is amazing to see that with children all at the same time. And what I like too is the next day, you'll have energy. You either slept very well, you have energy, or you have clear focus.
Which is so needed, so important. What role do you think stillness plays with us?
Stillness is key because like I said, once you start focusing on being grounded, right, being able to stay still is really a form of art. It's really sitting there with yourself and being able to tune out anything that may be around there. When I sit in nature, you can hear. When you're in stillness, you can really hear and use all your senses, your ears, your eyes, your nose. You can smell the earth sometimes if you're sitting in the ground, and the air. So it gives you that opportunity to just cleanse. I like to say, purge everything out. Even if you're sitting outside in a park, in a bench, on the grass, at the ocean, you're able to release. And that's what's important. about being stillness, about staying in stillness, having a couple of moments to yourself to be able to just feel more grounded.
And you're just cutting all the outside noise.
Right.
Imagine, right? And when you were mentioning the examples, right, like you can smell the earth, like when you're on a beach or someplace, and you are away from your everyday regular daily life, and you are literally with yourself
Right.
in that moment, like
And
there is no outside noise.
right. And when we're still, we're able to be more present. And that's what's important.
Yes.
When we're more present, we're able to be more mindful about the things we do, the way we want to communicate, more mindful of the way we want to behave, more mindful with our families and friends.
And you become more self-aware of yourself as
Yes.
well, right?
Yes. Well, yeah, stillness is about, being more self aware, being able to tune into ourselves there. When we're able to master that, right, then we're able to help others, or we're able to be more, less reactive, when others are being reactive. So you're able to really hold space for others.
Yeah. So what role does self-awareness play?
Self-awareness is important because we can be our own worst critic. We had a lot of people in our retreat that were saying, I want to be more grateful, more mindful, and only through self-awareness are we able to achieve that. It starts with us first, and then we can't give up to others from an empty cup. We have to fill our cup first in order to be able to give and pour more of what we want to give others, in order for us also to be able to receive. So if we're
So
blocked and we're not
beautiful.
doing things, right, or we're or suppressing, we're holding so much in that we're not able to have open hearts, to be able to open ourselves up to new opportunities, new roles. We get comfortable, we get lazy, we may be able to, not really work from all that strength that we do have inside. Things just stay dormant for a bit. So they need to be reactivated, reactivate that fire within us.
Very, very beautifully put. We are so much in our everyday routine, we don't realize these things at all. And many people think, that healing requires huge life changes, but often it's the smallest shifts that create the biggest of the transformations.
Yeah. Yeah. It's shifting the mind of what you already know so you can do something else in a new perspective, in a new way, so you can walk in a new direction, in a new path.
So, yes, now community. One thing that both of us have spoken about, often is the importance of community and creating spaces where people feel supported and seen.
Right.
So, why do you think community is such an important part of well being?
To me, community is about unity, it's about coming together. It's another form of resources that is disposable, that is out there for us to get support, to be able, to seek new connections. Everybody is seeking some form of connection. You could connect with your neighbors, you could connect with friends there, you could connect with local businesses or even volunteer groups. It's important to be active in a community there aside of your business. It gives you an opportunity to connect with other individuals that are in your neighborhood. What happens is when we live in fast cities, we're in and out. We don't have time to socialize. We may socialize with coworkers, our families, our friends, and that's about it. But when we connect with communities, we're able to get involved, more involved in other parts of groups, activities, philanthropy work, anything else that's out there. So it's important to have that community support. You never know when you're going to need it. You're there for others. Someday you're going to need it, and the community is is a strong foundation for you to be able to have.
True, and we also have an option to create our own community, right? In terms of gathering like-minded people, and doing our common interest things, something that's something with a shared intention kind of a thing, right? So what happens when people gather with a shared intention?
It brings back joy and happiness, for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, or 30 minutes that you're together with a different people, you're sharing that vibration. Like the retreat, we were there for a weekend. We started as strangers. We got to know each other. We were together for a good amount of hours in the day, in the evening, and we talked about wellness. We had fun games and activities. We did a beautiful facial experience with you, and then it shifted during the trip. We got happier, comfortable, laughter. We shared more personal stuff. So it creates a ripple effect where it becomes a little contagious. You want to share, you want to laugh, you listen more clearly, or you pay more attention to that person for that moment. So it's important to have community. You may not see them all the time, but it's important to be able to share that with children, with families, with seniors, with teachers, with retirees. It brings a lot of rewards.
And somehow, there somehow it creates a safe space also for you, where you can openly share, your feelings. You can open up, literally. You can talk
Yeah.
about anything and everything, because again, you are not being judged. You are finding that support. You are finding, you know some kind of shared intention or interest, as I said, right? So you feel supported, and you would want to be in that kind of an environment. You, as you said, right, clear headed kind of a thing.
Right. And it helps us be more compassionate, towards
Yeah.
others, to what someone else may be experiencing or struggling with. So, community is something that I strongly believe in.
So what have you observed, through creating wellness experiences and bringing people together?
Mhm. Well, I've observed that everybody has a different definition to wellness. I've also observed that, holding space for others is important. I've also experienced, individuals that have gotten emotional and happy tears as well as sad tears. So, being able to be in the wellness space is really having no judgment or criticism towards anyone and what they're going through, because we're all going through something. We've all experienced good things and bad things, they're there for us to they happen for us to evolve. And I often like to say, that it's not really happening to us at the moment, although it may feel that way. It's happening to us for us to grow. It's happening for us to be able to pretty much expand ourselves more so we can be able to evolve better. Mhm.
And somehow these wellness retreats, or these community events that are being held up, is helping people not necessarily to get a little disconnected from their daily lives or anything, but also from social media. So
Mhm.
because now they are not, we are so addicted to our phones all the time. And but when we are in such a space, and when we are around people doing the same shared thing, we forget our phones for that period of time. And that's where we get more clarity, we are more focused, we are more self-aware.
Mhm. Yeah.
So what
And
do
we are
people
able to
see?
appreciate ourselves better.
Yes. Yes, we are able to appreciate ourselves better.
Mhm.
According to you, like, what do people seem to be craving most right now?
I think now that more people are, they know about wellness. Now they're more into groups. They want to attend festivals. They want to be able to go to spa groups and places. Adventure travel is something big that they want to do with groups of friends, or meet, with other friends, or solo travelers meeting other solo travelers. That's pretty much, what's out there as well. Some people right now want to hibernate. They want to go to the countryside. They want to be able to do some camping or so, or glamping as well. So everyone is touching and experiencing different things, at the same time, but in different ways. But it's still focusing on the with the focus of mind and body connection.
Yes.
Mhm.
And same. So mind and body connection. How are you, getting away from your everyday routine, your work, or some kind of
Right.
stress, some kind of people are actually trying, they are wanting to get away from
Right.
their fast-paced life. They're, what
Yeah.
next kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yes, so let's touch base on our women's wellness getaway. What was your favorite part about our retreat?
Ooh, that's a lot. I would say my favorite part was like when we had, the face mask experience, because we were able to be playful, we were able to learn, we were able, it was colorful, so we were able to really, learn about rose water and doing our mixtures and putting it in our faces and having a good time. And that's what it is being, you know um, being able to bring joy back into our lives, staying playful at all times. I think by the end of it, we were all playful. We were in our pajamas. We were outside and are laughing. We had no makeup. We wore a mask. We were being natural. We were being our natural selves. And I think that's a beautiful thing, a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it was fun. Like the wow experience.
Like, wow. And we just kept going and going and laughing. And that, like that was a perfect example. We created a ripple effect. And, till the very end, we were saying, wow. So that is nice. You're not able to do that with everybody every day. But if you have, a day or a weekend or so to be able to do that, that's wonderful.
Keep finding some or the other reasons to connect with your community and just be
Yeah.
happy, be calm, be
Being,
mindful, be self-aware.
yeah. As individuals, we need to stay playful. Age happens, but it doesn't mean that we lose, that childlike feel to be able to run, to be playful, to be in the water, how we were, playing around. Even if we were sitting there, we were happy. And those are things that we need to come back to. Be able to shift the responsibilities. The responsibilities aren't going to go away, but we can make them fun. We can make them lighter and not let them be heavier and sitting. You know,
Yeah. So, what changes are you seeing in the wellness space that feel encouraging?
what happens is, there's so much out there. And what I recommend is, yes, people want to try everything, a little bit of everything. I just feel that, you should listen to your body and see what feels good to you. Don't do too much, but try to find something, whether it's meditation, whether it's yoga, whether it's kayaking, whether it's pickleball, tennis, basketball, anything in that end. A form of activity is good, as well as meditation, like you said, breath work. Individuals are trying, salt caves are popular as well. Sound baths, there's so many different ways. Floating sound baths as well, on the waters, on the
Yeah.
beaches. There's no right and wrong. You just need to see what gravitates to you. I say less is more, but don't overdo it, because you're not going to stick to it. It's like, okay, do Pilates, but you don't have to go running and also doing all these other things as well. Find something that gives you comfort, that you're going to stick with, and, be able to use that every day.
Do something that is sustainable. And if it
It's
is sustainable, you are definitely returning back to it.
Yeah, we want to be able to do things in our life, bring those lifestyle shifts, that are sustainable, that empower you, to give you, more strength, more resistance, more resilience. When we have more resilience, we're able to cope with, stress, with anxiety. We're able to cope with difficult situations that may happen in our lives. It happens to all of us. But if we're better prepared, we're able to handle them. That's why it's a mastery. We have to learn to master that. And wellness can go in so many
Yeah.
different areas. I focus in holistic wellness, and there's so many areas there that that pretty much comes full circle. Becomes full circle that help us with our inner and outer world.
So, what do you hope more people begin prioritizing in their lives?
What should we prioritize? Obviously, is your family time. We're so busy sometimes we don't have time for our children. We don't have time for work takes priority. Financial security as well. Relationships, finding our purpose. All of that is important. It's just being able to create a better balance every
Mm-hmm.
day to be able to deal with that. Without letting it, make us feel over, so it's not overbearing.
And if someone is like listening, today feels disconnected, overwhelmed, or simply exhausted, right? What is one thing you would want them to remember?
That everything's going to be fine, to breathe, just breathe, walk more with your shoulders down, not so stressed, walk more with your shoulders down, look up, look up, be grateful. Gratitude is an attitude, that we should carry with us every day. Things will fall into place. Being more patient with ourselves.
Lillian, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your experiences, and your perspective with us today.
Thank you.
I know there will be so many people listening who will take comfort, inspiration, and encouragement from this conversation. And to everyone listening, thank you for spending this time with us. If today's conversation resonated with you, we would love for you to share it with someone who might need it. Until next time, take a moment to pause, breathe, and reconnect with yourself. This is The Pause by Jaysrii. Thank you for listening.